Well, hello, and good evening, my lovelies. My name is Camilla, the Queen of Constantia, cast member of the Real Housewives of Cape Town, and welcome to my secret throne room. This is very exciting. I am reviewing the first episode of the Real Housewives of Nairobi. I'm getting in rather late, I'm afraid, because I've been a little bit ill this last week. So we're just getting in under the wire, but I'm really excited to be doing this. And to those of my friends in Kenya, hi, lovely to see you. So let's get started. But before we start, just a few things. I do work from notes in my little Real Housewives notebook because, sorry, I can't remember everything. And I don't work from a teleprompter or anything like that. So, and my little brain cells are not what they used to be. So I do write everything down. You will notice me looking at my notes every now and again. Please forgive me. Don't want to make any mistakes. Sometimes I do anyway. Please remember to press the subscribe button, subscribe to my channel. Press the like button if you like my review. It's really nice. It helps me with the algorithm. And share my review with your friends and my friends. I'll share my review with my friends, obviously. But please do share my review with your friends if you think they'll be interested and they are watching Real Housewives of Nairobi. That is also great for me as well. Leave comments in the comments section. I do love to engage with you. If you don't agree, let me know. If there's something you wish to ask me, you would like to discuss, I'm very happy to engage myself in a discussion with you as well. So here we are. Let's get going. Can I just say one thing? This is how we do it, baby. Boy, did this show come in with a bang. I mean, this is how we roll. It's giving us Lux. It is just giving. I just love the opening credits. I loved the production values. I loved the way that it was shot. I really loved all the sort of the opening comments. Oh, I loved the smoke screens. We are authentic, yet we are fake. And this is a thing that I'm always saying about Housewives. It's actually a bit of a sort of a pet peeve of mine about how all the housewives come on the shows and they always go, I'm such an authentic person and I hate fake people. And then they go on to be terribly fake themselves. And I just love that line. We are authentic yet fake. That was such a hilarious piece of honesty. And then we get stuff done, but don't ask us how. I love that as well. There was a sort of real wink moment there. There's old money, if you know where to find it. Also lovely, these opening lines in the sort of script that was read over. That was all so clever. Really like that. There have been many scandals in Kenya over the years. I mean, going right back, to Edwardian times, colonialist, deep colonialist, there was the sort of the white mischief and, murders on farms and big affairs and wah, So scandal is nothing new. I'm glad to see it's still happening. A delightful, long-made role, and I hope we're going to see more on this series. There was a funny bit. Just in the middle of all of this wonderful scenery, and we're seeing shoes and we're seeing cars rolling up, and there's a woman who walks through with a lampshade on her head with tassels hanging down. That just really made me laugh. I hope she's going to do it next episode so you guys can all go and check it out and go, there's the woman with the lampshade on her head. And it'll make you laugh as well, because I found it, so I'm like, no, that's odd. Anyway, I have to say, taglines, all of them, after all of that clever intro, I did not find a single tagline that stood out for me. I found them all very flat. So that was a bit sad. Okay, and then we meet Susan. Wow, Susan, you are gorgeous. Susan, absolutely gorgeous. What a beautiful face, beautiful hair, beautiful smile. And then she says this thing, and I've heard it quite a few times recently on Housewives franchises. My daughter represents my dreams. You know, I get so worried when women say that they're putting all their dreams into their daughters. It's such a heavy burden for children to bear, carrying the dreams of their mothers. I think I'm projecting because my mum did it to me and I had to have trauma therapy. So I'm probably projecting. But please be careful. Let your children live out their own dreams. Don't project your stuff onto your kids. I sound like a lecturer here. But every time I hear this, I go, but I think, okay, yes, I'm projecting. But it is a thing. You know, let your children live out their own dreams. Don't put your daughter on the stage, Mrs. Worthington. That was a famous line from a London musical. Yeah, and it's about pressurizing your kids to be who you want them to be rather than who they want to be. Anyway, I'm not here to give people lessons. It's just a thing that I keep on seeing repetitively with housewives around the world, is that women are wanting their daughters to fulfill their dreams and not their, as in the mother's dreams, and not their own. Then Susan says she's a lawyer, and she says, however, she doesn't say this, but she has qualified as a lawyer. However, she's no longer practicing. She must have perfected it then. She's now working as a travel agent in her family's business. And then we see Susan meeting with Sonal, her BFF. And whenever I hear that, I think, ooh, I wonder how long, now that they're on this show, they're going to stay BFFs, because these types of shows can be very taxing on close friendships. It's going to be interesting to see. Anyway, they do look as if they're very close friends. So now, I love your voice. You have the sweetest, cutest, most original voice that I've heard in years. It's just amazing. It's so attractive to listen to for me. So now you're going for the Imelda Marcos Shoe Collection Award. I have to say, I see you. I can't raise you, but yeah, I really see where you're coming from. I feel you. You say you've suffered from depression and anxiety, and that's why you've gone down a spiritual path. And it is interesting how many women, as I've watched various franchises and I was involved in my own franchise, it's interesting how you find how many women have so much in common. How many of us have suffered from depression, anxiety, and shoe collecting? Well, they don't call it retail therapy for nothing. Non-alcoholic, I don't drink. Related to depression and anxiety, not a good idea. It doesn't help, it makes it worse. But it is interesting. Yeah, depression, anxiety, shoe collecting. Do you know that when you buy things, every time you buy something, it gives you a hit of dopamine and serotonin, which gives you actually a bit of a kick. And you were talking about your, what did you call it? Your being a luxury connoisseur. And I totally get you. But I also looked at your amazing collection of stuff, and I was thinking, I wonder how many times a year you actually wear each pair or each bag. And I have a friend who collects like you do, and for her it's much more about the actual acquisition than it is about the wearing. And the reason for the acquisition is because of the hit that she gets when she does the acquisition, and the hit is the hit of dopamine and serotonin and the joy of the collection, because it gives her a high that is actually being a bit of a cure for depression and anxiety. And I just find that quite interesting. So it's a bit like having a drug, being a collector of beautiful things. But of course those things do go up in value, they do, as we now know. Oh, now I've got a little bird from my bubbly. So you're not necessarily doing a wrong thing. You're not harming anyone. It's just an interesting aside over there. And then we see Susan with Effie, and she is talking about putting together physical informations for her sip and scent party. Now, I do like that, Susan. I think physical invitations are a very, very polite way of doing things. So often nowadays, I get invited on WhatsApp, and I just think it's just going so down market these days. A WhatsApp invitation is just so I did get a WhatsApp invitation the other day, and then I was supposed to get the bottle of Patron afterwards delivered to me in a lovely box, and mine never arrived, and I was very, very disappointed. Not that I was going to drink it, I was going to give it to my husband, but I was still disappointed that the physical invitation didn't arrive. Some of my friends got it. But you see, it's nice to get the physical thing, or to get the lovely card delivered or whatever, and it doesn't take that much more effort. So Susan, I see you, and I respect you for doing that. I think that's quite right. So Sanal arrives at Posh Palace, and Susan says that she and Sanal are actually the only ones who are living the real luxury life, and the only ones who have really traveled the world. So that's interesting. Now we're going to see as the show unfolds whether that is in fact the case. I suspect that might very well be true, but let's see. Sanal suggests that Susan might want to have a divorce party. And just my take on that is that that's actually rather infra-dig, not really done in polite society, certainly from where I come from. You know, divorce, you just do. It's not really a thing you throw a party about. You know, have a party about something else, but divorce, not really. Anyway, moving on, that's just my opinion. So we move on to the sip and scent party. Yes, they phoned Dr. Maria, who's in Romania, and she says she's not sure if she's going to get back on time. And then we move on. And then we meet Vera. Now, Vera reminds me a lot of Toyin from Real Housewives of Lagos. Probably maybe just me, don't know. Let me know in the comment section if you agree, but she does remind me a lot. What have I written here? I'm going slowly. This is what I've put here. I'm going slowly because I squeezed something in. I think I'm probably going to get into terrible trouble for what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it anyway, from Vera's fans in Kenya, because I have heard she's quite polarizing, and I am possibly going to get into terrible trouble, but I'm going to say it anyway, because everything that I say here is my opinion. Vera proceeds to do what I find to be a very unladylike and attention-seeking rap. It's excruciating to me. And the words involve her booty, an unmentionable word, an anaconda getting involved or wriggling around the booty and the unmentionable word, and someone sending her dick pics. And this reminds me of nothing so much as an inferior copy of Cardi B's WAP song. And Cardi B's WAP song, I find totally anti-female empowerment. In fact, I think it is disempowering towards women, and I'm revolted by it. So you can imagine my feelings on Vera's song. It didn't work for me on any level. I didn't think it was funny at all. But moving on, I can put that to one side. She, however, does have many other amazing things that she does do. She's an entrepreneur, and she has a spa, and she has a Vitox range, and she also has a very high self-opinion. And she says that she is more Googled than the president of Kenya. And I'm delighted to hear that. I didn't check that up, and maybe she is. And if so, that's fabulous. I'm delighted that she has such great self-esteem. good for her. And then Amina visits Vera. And Vera says it's a merit party. It's a merit party, not a merit party. I just thought I'd let you know. Merit. It's called Merit et Chanel, not merit. Just wanted to let you know. I'm not quite sure why that scene's there. She just drops by. It's little pregnancy balloons and things like that, and we get to meet Amina. There's not too much going on in there. Anyway, and then Vera calls Sanal, and they say let's get together at Oysters. What's it called? Oysters and More. And Sanal says let's get together at 5:30. You can tell she wants an early night, and Vera says, oh, do you want an early night? And Sanal says, well, let's meet and have bubbly at 5:30 and we can have dinner at 7. Vera says, okay, fine. And that's all done. And then the next thing we see is Susan is off to Lisa. Now, Lisa reminded me the strange sort of, Lisa's called Christofferson, I think. Christofferson, and she Scandinavian origin must be by the surname, and it just gave me hints of the movie Out of Africa and the book that was written by Isaac Dinesen was a pen name, the pen name was Karen Blixen, of the lady who inspired the movie Out of Africa, who was Danish, who came to live in Kenya. And Lisa reminded me of that lady. Meryl Streep played her in the film with Robert Redford. And your Swahili is just knocked it out of the park, Lisa. I nearly fell off my chair. Couldn't believe it. Wow. And so, yes, I have a farm in Africa. That's what she said. I love that movie. So I just wanted to know if anybody can tell me if Lisa is of Danish or Scandinavian origin. I'd be fascinated to hear. So Susan invited Lisa to her sip and scent party, and there's one thing I was wondering, because Lisa and I are much the same age. I got a lot of backlash when I went on Housewives for being too old. And I think Lisa is also the oldest of the group, and I'm wondering if Lisa's going to get similar backlash in Kenya for being too old to be a housewife. It's going to be interesting to see. If you do, Lisa, don't worry. Haters are going to hate. Okay, so moving on. Sanal then went off to Oysters and More, and she got there early. Now, Sanal, if you get there an hour and a half early, and you've said 5:30, but you get there at 4, the first hour and a half, you can't blame for. But from the 5:30 to the 7:30, you certainly can blame for that 2 hours. Now, where on our show, we had a lot of our ladies were like just always late. And then, of course, famously, we have African time. We do. And I've had to learn to operate on African time. I had a party recently where I invited everyone for 7, and somebody actually phoned me at 10 and said, could I send them a location pin? And I said, no, don't bother coming. So, I think, if you'd arranged to meet by 5:30, I'm surprised you were still there by 7:30, but I'm glad you were. And it looked like you and Vera had a nice chat. So then you had a chat about her Instagram post where she put up a flat bum, and people were asking her if she'd had a BBL removal, and she said no, she had posted a pic of her before she went on. The way that I understood it, it was before she went on contraceptives and gained weight, and when she went on contraceptives, she gained weight and all the weight went to her bum. Okay, that is really weird. I've never known of anyone where all the weight that they put on goes to one place. That's just really strange, but okay. And so then she says she'd been off the scene for 7 months and she's had her baby, and she wanted to come back on the scene. She had this music video, and so in order to get some attention, she posted a shot of herself without her famous booty. And that caused a furore all over Kenya because everybody thought that she'd had a BBL reversal. In other words, that her bum before was not real and now she'd had it removed, or I'm not sure, or otherwise that she'd now had one put in because she'd gone out post this photo of her with a flat bum, now with a huge bum. I'm not sure which way round it is. Whether she's now developed the bum later and she posted a pic of her with a flat bum to show the contrast. I'm not sure which way around it is. But whatever it is, she's either suddenly got a huge bum or she had a huge bum, went off the scene, posted a pic of a flat bum, making everybody think she'd got rid of it, and then came back out again and they all saw the bum was still there. But in the meantime, everybody thought, she's had a BBL reversal. I'm not sure. But the one thing I can tell you is I've never heard of anybody going on contraceptives, putting on weight, and all their weight going to their bum. I've never heard of such a thing. So, hashtag just saying. It's one of my sort of things yeah. So, be that as it may, she certainly does have an outstanding bum. Yes, it is of gracious proportions. Let us put it that way. Sanal says that, you know, we're not all blessed to have a bum like that, and, you know, some of us have to live with what God gives us. Well, I have to say, Sanal, that I'm not sure that everybody wants a bum like that, and some men are passionate about bums that size, and some men are not. I think that it's a horses for courses, as they would say. Different people like different sorts of anatomy. And I think you are beautiful in your frame and appeal to a certain sort of person. I appeal to a different sort of person. And Vera appeals to a different sort of person herself. But she makes an interesting comment. For somebody who is constantly pumping comments that come across as so filled with self-aggrandizement, you know, they talk about me at State House, the president knows about me, blah, blah, blah. She then says this, which I find fascinating. She says, people love me like this. What happens if I don't have this? Meaning her bottom. Will they still love me? Interesting. So there you see a deep sense of insecurity. Underneath all this braggadocio, underneath all this sort of over-the-topness and everybody talks about me and everybody loves me, there's some quite deep-seated insecurity there that's coming through for me. Found that very interesting. Okay, so a paradox going on there. So anyway, so we're moving on, and so the invitations are handed out from Susan. They all arrive and each of the girls get them, and each one is individual. They each get their different little colored glasses. Beautiful, lovely touch. Well done, Susan. And I loved the venue at the Tribe. I just thought everything looked absolutely gorgeous. The table settings, just chic, elegant, lovely. And then you've got Susan arriving in the chopper, hilarious. So she gets out looking devastatingly elegant with Michelle. Now, I'm not sure if the Michelle that she arrives with is the same Michelle that has a fight later, because if it is, then that Michelle changes her wig and her outfit. So I'm unclear. But anyway, Susan arrives looking stunning in a black outfit and promptly says, oh, she's all sort of sweaty and you know, and not looking, she's looking a bit sort of tired after a long day and not glamorous, and she must go and change. And I'm going, huh? I now realize why she did it, but I wasn't sure at the time. Very clever, Susan. So Susan disappears off and she has a sort of arrival moment in a gorgeous black outfit. Guests start arriving. And they're all in black. And Susan then comes down in a glorious, I think it's taffeta, or I couldn't quite see the material, but a beautiful, beautiful yellow ball gown. And she's got her hair done up, and she's almost sort of sun rays sticking out the top. And then Dr. Maria arrives by surprise, also wearing a very stunning, not anything like Susan's, but a very stunning fitted gown. That was a surprise. And we get to meet Maria then. We get to know a bit about her. Congratulations on your clinic and being the first Black-owned aesthetic clinic in Central and Eastern Europe, Maria. That's a great achievement. And I am very, very sorry to hear about the loss of your baby. That is very tragic. I feel for you, and I hope you get the chance to have another at another stage. And by the way, I adore your hair. Grace Jones springs to mind. Iman springs to mind. You look stunning. You've got the face. You've got the figure. Why would you ever want to grow it? You look amazing. You've got the bone structure. Just keep it like it is. You look amazing. I mean, yeah. Go for it. Go for it and stay with it. Right. So Vera arrives very late, surprise, surprise, in leopard print, which isn't black, but it is at least dark. I think arriving late is probably going to land up being her trademark on the show, because I think, she's going to sort of do what she wants to do, because I think that this is how she runs her life. She thinks she's quite important and she's a celebrity, and this is how I roll. And here she goes again. She says, the president knows me. They discuss me at State House. And I was wondering what they discussed about her at State House. So I had a little think, and I thought, well, perhaps they were discussing whether her songs were appropriate to play at state banquets. I wonder. And then Monet arrives, wearing orange. And beyond late. I mean, extra super duper late. So 2 things here. You're so late, you might as well not have bothered. And you're wearing orange. Now, if you don't want to wear black, say, no, I don't want to come. Or wear charcoal or wear grey. But do not turn up wearing orange. It's rude. Rude. Look at me. Rude. Right. You can't just say, I don't wear black. Right, so we see Monet and her, then we get introduced to Monet because we haven't met her so far, and we see Monet and her husband Charles, but our first introduction is to them having a bit of a Barney, a bit of a disagreement. It's a little bit uncomfortable, actually, and then we hear that he has had an affair, I think before they got married, but I'm not sure, and he went off and he had a baby mama, and then he came back, and he said he wanted to come back, and she let him back in, and then she says, love is love, but then she goes on to qualify it because she says that she always wanted a Mercedes AMG, and he surprised her with one, and that was everything. So apparently there you go. An AMG is the price of love. I'm so glad I found out. So I got the answer at last. Susan's parties. Here we are. I'm looking at Susan. Someone's asking Susan about her scents, and Vera is sitting next to Susan, and she couldn't be looking more bored. She's on her phone, like, disengaged and rude. And anyway, so then Susan has a game, and Monet wins a prize, which is a Givenchy perfume. And she then afterwards throws some shade and says she doesn't think it's real because she couldn't smell the scent after an hour. Well, actually, do you know, Monet, with a very good fragrance, you're not supposed to be able to smell it on yourself. That means it's one of the best. Other people can smell it on you, but it goes into your skin to such an extent that you can't smell it on yourself. Note to self. So I love Izumiyaki, and I can never smell it on myself. But everybody says to me, you smell absolutely gorgeous. So isn't that interesting? And it's body chemistry. how it mingles with your body chemistry. And I would doubt very much anyway that the Givenchy would have been a fake if Lisa then won business class tickets to Dubai. The two don't quite go together to me. But, and then of course, Susan goes and excuses herself, just says she's just got to potter off, just before dinner. And she does another wardrobe change. Susan, you clever girl. You've managed to get 3 outfits in one event. I'm going to remember that for season 2 of Housewives. 3 wardrobe changes for one event. Hadn't thought of that. Okay, so Maria starts talking to Vera across the dinner table, about the BBL posting that confused everyone, about whether she had it either taken in or put out or whatever it was. But anyway, she starts talking to her and she says, it's very nice to have met you and you're much calmer than I expected, but why did you put up this post? Is it a good example to younger women to do this because they look up to us? They don't understand, and it's done with insufficient medical evidence, and we're giving young women the wrong message, blah, blah. Now, I have to say, I'm very much on the fence about this because I understand why Vera did it. Vera was doing it for shock value. She was doing it. She'd been out of the business for a while. She was releasing a new music video. It was a photograph of her, so that was true. And she was needing to bring up her likes and her shock value. From Maria's point of view, she's going, be responsible. There are a lot of young girls out there, and you're an example to them, and they might go and do stuff to their bodies that they shouldn't be doing. And of course, this turned into a volcanic explosion at the table. Both points of view were legitimate. However, the thing is that this should not have happened at Susan's table, at a beautiful table. It should have happened off to one side. Maria should have taken Vera to one side and had the discussion off to one side, or made an appointment with her for lunch, and they should have had this discussion, even if it had got heated, at another forum, not at this dinner table. It was inappropriate. Maria, you were inappropriate to bring it up then. It wasn't an inappropriate discussion, but it was an inappropriate forum. That's my point. So Maria, and then it started going bad because Vera can be a little bit more of a street fighter. So she starts leaning a bit more towards her Cardi B side and says, you're going for the bag, and it starts going in that direction, and then Maria gets up and leaves. But Maria, you went there, and it wasn't the time and the place. And if you go there, you've got to be able to take what's coming your way. That's the point. And Maria's, okay, she's jet lagged, but I think it was all getting a bit much. And then no sooner does she vacate her spot than a woman who we haven't met, unless it was the same woman that got off the helicopter, now wearing a different wig, called Michelle, comes and occupies her chair to sit directly opposite Monet. And instantly launches into a Barney, a bicker, a beef, or a fight with Monet. At which point Lisa has enough and says, I'm going to go and powder my nose. Well, I don't blame you, Lisa. And I can't make head nor tail what's going on here, because Monet is saying, I don't know you. And this girl, Michelle, is going, you ignore me at events, da, 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 da. And so this is now going backwards and forwards. And then there's a bit of a clue, because Vera says, when women fight, it's either over money or men. And I suddenly go, oh, do you think that this Michelle could be the baby mama? Could she? And is this why Monet is so upset and doesn't want to speak to her and wants nothing to do with her? And is this why Michelle is trying to corner her and pin her down and have words with her in front of everyone and Monet wants nothing to do with her. And is this why Michelle is saying, why won't you talk to me? You know, you have every idea who I am. Why are you pretending that you don't know me? Well, this is now a bit of a cliffhanger. And also what is weird is Monet doesn't stay. She's now one of the major invited guests, but she can't wait to get out of there, which is why I'm thinking maybe this Michelle is the baby mama. And she's saying, I've got no idea who this woman is. I think she does. And then she meets Lisa in the passage on the way outside. And Lisa just takes her hand and says, don't worry, darling. It's all going to be okay. Life is amazing. And in that moment, Lisa's tagline makes sense to me. Because I suddenly remembered she had stage 4 cancer and was given 10 days to live. And for her, and for all of us, every day we have to live is a blessing. And suddenly, I felt it. Life is amazing. We mustn't get caught up in petty little scraps. Thank you, Lisa, for reminding me of that. Life is amazing, and that's why suddenly, your tagline suddenly meant the most. It seemed so simple when I heard it. And then at the very end of this episode, I thought, it's actually so profound. You're right. Life is amazing. Every second of every day. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ladies of Nairobi, for an amazing first episode. And I can't wait to see episode 2. God bless, good night, and lovely to see you. I hope you'll join me again for my review next week. And please subscribe. Please hit the like button. I really need that for my algorithm so I can keep bringing you lovely reviews and lots of love. Bye.